It's going to be by an inch.
He's a small rider, and he's only number 4, but Ricky Carmichael, that's a lot of shadow they have right behind you.
Watch Ricky square this corner. Dive back to the inside on the power. No problem. How's that for corner speed?
Carmichael just blows by Wyndham.
Now this goes back to where I said at the start. Carmichael rides a little bit on the edge. If you do that here, you could pay the price. Kevin's got to stay close and force Ricky to push himself a little bit out of his comfort zone, possibly into a mistake.
Think about the action that we've seen already. Not even halfway through this main event. And remember, we're over 4,500 feet in altitude here. How much is that going to wear on these riders?
It's going to wear a lot. We might already be seeing an example of that. Ricky, other than Mike LaRocco, who has worked his way up into 4th from a poor start, Ricky is the strongest guy in the field. Wyndham, I don't know, he's probably about number 5 or 6 in terms of the toughest guys out there. And about lap 8, these guys start to get tired. They were starting to get tired at the end of their heat races, which are 8 laps. They got 10 more laps to go. Fatigue is going to play a major role.
Ricky Carmichael, number 4, with the lead right now, about halfway through this main event with a 250 class. The streak alive for the moment. He's won 11 in a row, going to number 12. For 4 decades, one program has brought you the athletes and the events that have become etched in popular culture. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. ABC's Wide World of Sports 40th Anniversary Special, presented by Aflac, is coming up next. And you should not miss that program. That should be great. Up next here on ABC. Meanwhile, the 250 main event has been dominated by Ricky Carmichael. He still has the lead here. Number 4 in a familiar spot. It's been a good battle behind him, though, David.
Well, you know, for a moment there, I thought this was it. Carmichael's streak was going to end. He dropped all the way to 4th. These guys were fighting past him, and he doesn't give up. And I talked about how fit he is. He and LaRocco right there, number 5, all the way up to 3rd. Just shaved a half a second off Carmichael's lead, but I'm surprised he hasn't been able to close the gap on Tim Ferry, who's riding a solid 2nd. But physical fitness in this last 5 laps is the absolute key.
When Mike LaRocco, the veteran, the 30-year-old from South Bend, Indiana, how good is he coming from behind? Last week, he was last coming out of the starting gate, had a crash, but fought his way all the way back to finish 4th. And he seems to do this nearly every week.
Oh, he's good at it. This is what he's known for. I think if Mike got the whole shot, was leading at the beginning of the race, he might still end up in 2nd or 3rd. He seems like he gravitates to that position every week. He's got the potential to win, but something's missing. And something that's maybe helping him here tonight. You know, David Coombs pointed out the track is breaking down. It's real slippery. Mike uses a 20-inch front wheel as opposed to a 21-inch. That gives him a little bit better traction than everybody else. He's the only guy strong enough to muscle that bigger tire around.
LaRocco, one of the major names throughout this season. You know, only 5 riders have finished on the podium this season. 42 available spots, only 5 have finished in the top 3 throughout the year. As you look at Ricky Carmichael, number 4, ahead of the pack again.
Ricky Carmichael's last lap slower than both Ferry and LaRocco. He better be careful not to put it in the cruise mode. You see how close they are. And Willem at 9:34 makes his return. He had an injury. Makes his return to Supercross here in Salt Lake. A fine performance. He didn't get the greatest start, but he marked LaRocco all the way up through the pack. He's starting to lose a little bit of time now, but still a fine ride in 4th.
Pretty impressive. David Williman, we mentioned he hasn't raced since March 17th, a broken collarbone, but he won 4 races last season. He finished 2nd overall.
It didn't start off that way for him, but he's starting to show signs of that form again. A little too late, but still, he's got the outdoor season approaching next month, and he needed a little bit of confidence, and this is going to give it to him.
Not much of an off-season at all for a lot of these guys, is there?
No, their off-season is spent testing and riding races in Europe. You know, sponsor obligations and appearances. These guys, when they do get their time off, it's harder than it is when they just go out and race.
Jeremy McGrath, number 1, just ahead of Ezra Lusk, hot on his heels. Thought for a moment early in the race that this could be the night for Jeremy McGrath. He had the lead, battled back and forth, but then struggled.
Yeah, you know, I was surprised that he was in the lead fighting as well as he did, because he struggled all day. Consider that Ezra went down the first corner, and now he has a shot at passing Jeremy, who was leading the race. Not been a good day for McGrath, but I think he's realized the title's gone and his motivation has slipped a little bit. That's obvious. And I just am anxious to see what he does over the summer and how hungry he comes back into next season. There goes Ezra, jumps right by. McGrath doesn't put up that much of a fight. He just kind of gets handed the position back. And what allowed Ezra to get this close was about 2 laps ago, Jeremy stalled the bike.
Ross fighting to get ahead of McGrath, but there is Ricky Carmichael into the air.
His lead over Tim Ferry has shrunk. White flag. He's got to be perfect this lap or Ferry can win this.
There's number 15 right behind, left side of your screen, Tim Ferry. Making a run at Carmichael here on the final lap.
Ferry's done such a good job of pushing the pace today. Mistake-free, keeping Carmichael honest. Very few people have done that this year. They've even made Morocco back there, who caught these guys, say Uncle. He's just given up, dropped way off the pace.
Well, at some point, the way Carmichael has been riding, isn't that a temptation just to say, hey, I can't catch this guy. I can't match what he's doing on the track.
Oh, especially when he crashes at that. This afternoon, right in this section, right there, Carmichael did a big face planting. He looped the bike over backwards, and he had a headache this afternoon. They were worried about a mild concussion, and he's recovered. So that just breaks your spirit. You're like, how can I beat this guy?
Ricky Carmichael into the air across the finish line. He has now won 12 in a row and 13 overall on the season. The streak continues. Trying to catch Jeremy McGrath's record. He's got 1 more to go.